Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
So I'm coming to more of your calls in a moment. Mutuli, Koketso, I see you. Remember, I've been telling you that we are coming to you live from the CSIR this morning, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. We're here at the International Convention Center because it's the third G20 Research and Innovation Working Group and Research and Innovation Ministerial meeting. So you've got G20 member states here, guest countries, multilateral organizations, global science partners, and all of them are having conversations here about how to advance inclusive science, technology, and innovation for sustainable development. And joining me now is Imraan Patel, who's the Deputy Director General for Research, Development and Support at the Department of Science and Technology and Innovation. Mr. Patel, thank you so much for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners.
Let's talk about the purpose for this gathering. I think you've had, two gatherings before this one. What are some of the key issues that are going to be discussed here?
All right, so just context, this is the third meeting, but it's also combined with what we call the ministerial. So the previous two meetings and the last 2 days, it was officials from different countries who met to decide what are the science and technology policy priorities that are common to the G20 country. The ministers then meet this morning to look at what the officials have prepared and to finally agree whether they support the declaration or not. So some of the issues that we've pushed are aligned to our development requirements. For example, South Africa has adhered to something called open science and open innovation. We've learned from COVID that when it's scientists that cooperate in an effective way, that science advances. So we've bought into that. So one of the issues in the declaration is around open innovation.
Yeah.
Biodiversity is a big priority for South Africa. We are mega biodiverse country. There's lots of opportunities in exploiting that biodiversity for economic development, and that's another area that we put on the agenda to advance our work. And then we have access to science and technology by marginalized communities, women, etc. So these are the kind of topics that we've identified, and we've built on previous hosts of the G20 Research and Innovation Working Group who put forward some of these matters which we agreed on, and we've taken it forward.
Yeah, who's part of this gathering?
All right, so it's the G20 member countries, all 20 of them, except the US hasn't physically attended. And then we have guest countries that we've invited to all of the G20 events. That includes our African partners, the AU. And then very importantly, we've used what we call knowledge partners.
Global minds, bold innovation, shared progress. The Clement Manyathela Show on 702. Live from the G20 Research and Innovation Working Group.
5 minutes before 10 o'clock, there are so many people here, G20 member states, multilateral organizations, global science partners, and all of them are having conversations around advancing inclusive science and technology for sustainable development. I want to bring in now Anneline Morgan here at our makeshift studios, the acting CEO of the National Advisory Council on Innovation. Anneline, thank you so much for joining us. Hi.
Thank you, Clement. Good morning to your listeners.
So you guys advise the Minister of Science and Technology on issues related to innovation in science and technology. What is our approach as South Africa to science and technology going into the G20?
So, good morning once again to the listeners, and thank you for having us on your show. So I'd like to say that it's been a great privilege for South Africa. On the 21st of September, we hosted all the G20 Chief Science Advisors from across the G20 member countries and guest countries. And these are advisors who are located within the President's offices in the various countries or Prime Minister's offices. And then in South Africa, we give that type of advice through the agency where I'm based, the National Advisory Council of Innovation, which is an entity of the Department of Science and Technology, where we give evidence-based science and technology advice to the minister. So the outcome of our meeting on the 21st of September was an historic day for South Africa's G20 presidency, because for the first time, we've agreed on an outcome statement as the Chief Science Advisors. The first Chief Science Advisors took place under the presidency of India in 2023, and then the 2024 Brazil, which was hosted with UNESCO, and then this was the third meeting where we adopted what we call the outcome statement of the Chief Science Advisors.
What are some of the conversations you're hoping will be taking place as we look ahead to the National Summit, of course, around science and technology?
So what we're saying is basically to say, how do we use science to inform evidence-based policy making? So one of the key issues we've articulated in our outcome statement is that how do we leverage the different diversity from the G20 countries to build capacity amongst the countries? But as you know, the South Africa's presidency of the G20 is not only for South Africa, we've also made it an Africa-centric G20. So to say, how do we then put Africa to also benefit from the vast diversity and the resources that G20 member countries can offer. So we hope that as we lead up to the summit, that science and technology will be a key thread in the summit declaration, because as you know that no country or economy can develop without the integration of science, technology and innovation.
And then climate and AI, how does that affect those conversations?
Well, as you know, there are various working streams under another task force. There's the Digital Task Force on AI. We deal mainly with the STI issues such as climate, biodiversity, equity, but also scientific freedom. The other issues we've discussed, resources. As you know, there's not enough resources to support research and development. In South Africa, our expenditure on R&D for GDP has been sitting at 0.61%. But if you look at in the NDP, our National Development Plan, we are saying that by 2030, the country must invest about 1.5% of GDP for science and technology. So we kind of at a behind in terms of investment of resources. So we continuously use these platforms to advocate for more resources to be invested for research, development and innovation.
Wonderful. Anneline Morgan, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you, Clement, and thank you to the listeners of 702. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The acting CEO of the National Advisory Council on Innovation.